Hello everyone. Looks like we are live. All right. Okay. Just give me a second to take care of some social stuff. Just to let everyone know that we are live. I think Twitter already was sent. Publish this. Confirm. Good. Let's close that. Okay. The reason we are here today is because Cale Porcio decided to surprise us all and just released a bunch of Livewire Flux components for free. You don't have to pay for this. These ones are free for you to start using. So, of course, we have to talk about it, right? So today I'm going to take you through the experience of how it feels and how it looks to create a new project and use the Livewire Flux drop-down menu component. I think we're gonna use the drop-down menu and the button. But yeah, let's take a tour on this. Let's take a tour of the Livewire Flux library, shall we? Okay, so let me close that tab real quick. Oh, I can leave it there. We're gonna start by, as always, creating a new project. So Laravel new, let's call it Flux demo. We're gonna use the Breeze starter kit so that we have everything just scaffolded for us. We're gonna use the Livewire Vault class API with Alpine. Let me get the chat window up so that I can look at your comments. And Mark, how you doing, man? Yeah, 2 nights in a row. So Livewire, thank you for showing up. Livewire Vault class with Alpine, dark mode support, of course, Pest. I'll probably end up sharing this code with you guys. So yes, GitHub repo. I would say, if you're having a bad day and you feel like you need something to cheer you up, just open the terminal and type Laravel new something and just watch it run. I don't know why, but it tickles my brain in the right way. And yeah, you can delete the folder then, and just do that every day. You'll have a great day. I absolutely recommend it. Database migrations, yeah, create the database. Cool. Look at it go. It's like, I don't know. Therapeutic is the best way I can describe it. Web Itsum, how you doing, man? Mark, it's been a day. How are you? I'm doing great. Thank you so much. Good morning from the pad. Good morning to you as well, Rajesh. Thank you for being here. All right, so we have a new project. We are going to cd into Flux demo, and let's do code dot so that we can open this in the editor. Let's zoom in a bit, and there you go. So we have a blank canvas, and first thing we need to do is install Flux. So in the post that you just saw in Twitter, there is a link to the GitHub repo. I think I already have it open here. So let's go to the GitHub repo here and let's follow the instructions to install Flux. First, we need to do composer require Laravel Livewire Flux version 1.0.0-beta 5. Keep in mind, this is still in beta, so expect a lot of changes in the future, in the near future. There might be some bugs, etc., but it is expected. This is in beta. So let's copy this and paste it here. Give it a second to run. And what else? I'm going to start a vite server right away. npm run dev and close this. Next thing we need to do is to add the Flux styles directive and also the Flux scripts directive so that we have all of the styles and all of the JavaScript included in our project. Since we are using Laravel Breeze, we are going to do that in the app template or the app layout. Let's see, we can do it here right after the Vite directive. I would recommend that if you are using Breeze, that you add this directive after the one from Vite, just to make sure that whatever styles are included in Flux take precedence over whatever it is inside the app.css file, if that makes sense. So Flux styles, and then down at the bottom, just before the closing body, let's do Flux scripts, like so. Okay. So keep in mind, Flux uses Tailwind CSS for all of the styles. And if you're not using Breeze and this is just a regular project, you can use this CDN tag to include all of the CSS, all of the Tailwind CSS classes. But since we're using Breeze, that's already in there for us. And as you can see, the Flux styles come after Tailwind CSS. What we have to do though is add these two new lines in the tailwind.config.js file. So let's copy that. Let's open tailwind.config.js and let's paste those here. I don't like to mix double quotes and single quotes, so let's quickly replace those. So replace double quotes with single quotes, and do that in the entire file. There you go. Save that, and that's it. That is it actually. That's the whole installation. Now what's included here? We have the button component, we have the drop-down component, we have the icons. All of the icons are included in this package for free. We have the separator component so that you can have sections in your drop-down menu. And we have the tooltip component as well. What we thought we could do to demonstrate how to use the drop-down component specifically is, let's open Chrome real quick, Google Chrome. Let's navigate to fluxdemo.test, and we have the page. I'm going to register real quick. That was wrong. Okay. So what we are going to do for an example is we're going to replace this drop-down menu from Breeze, and we're going to use the drop-down menu from Flux. Sound cool? All right, so let's actually open the documentation for the drop-down menu. And I'm already logged in. So the recommendation here is if all you need is a collection of links, use the nav menu inside the Flux dropdown. If you need more functionality, in this case, action menus that require keyboard navigation, submenus, etc., as stated in documentation, then use the menu component instead. And I think we have an example here. So we are going to use the menu because we need not only a link, but the logout item is actually a button that has to call a Livewire method. And we're going to see that in a second. So since we are using Breeze, and because we are using the Livewire flavor, we have a navigation vault component that is located in resources, Views, Livewire, layout, navigation. So this component is a Vault component that contains the entire top navigation in our template. So this whole section up here, this is way too small. Let's put it in 150 like that. Okay, so this whole section up here, that is the navigation Vault component that comes with Breeze. And in that component, we have what is called the settings dropdown. So we're going to replace this drop-down menu with the one from Flux. So let's start doing that actually. So let's add a new line here and let's say Flux drop-down. And that's it. And in here, we are going to use, according to the example in the documentation, let's use the Flux button with a chevron down so that it looks like this. So let's say Flux button. What is it? Icon trailing equals chevron down. And for the contents of the button, let's just grab the name of the currently logged in user. So auth user name. How does that look? And there it is. We have a drop-down menu, which is empty for now. I'm going to keep both for a while so that we can compare styles, because what I want at the end is for this Flux menu to look exactly or as close as it can be to this menu here. So right now there is nothing in this menu. So let's add a couple of items for the profile link and the logout button. So as the documentation says, we're going to use Flux menu. And in here, we're going to use Flux menu dot item. And this item will be for the profile page. And I need this to go to the profile page. So we're going to use href, and then in here we can use route. And then dashboard, sorry, profile. And we're going to need another one. So Flux menu. Oop. Not that. Flux menu. Why are you closing the one? Okay, let me just undo that. Yank, paste. That's better. So Flux menu item. In this case, I don't want this to be a link. And instead, I want this to react to the click and call a Livewire function that is called logout. This one right here. It's in a Vault component, so we have access to it in this template. So here, instead of href, I can just say wire click equals logout. And let's change this to logout. All right, let's take a look. And look at that. We can go to the profile page, works perfectly, and I'm not gonna log out, but I know that actually we can log out and it works. Awesome, right? We log back in. All right, so in most of the situations, that should be enough. You have an awesome drop-down menu that you can actually tap into. You can control with the drop-down with the arrow keys. You can click escape to close it, etc. Every goodness that comes with this drop-down menu, it's already out of the box, and you can use it as is if you want. But the good thing about this is that you can go even further. What if you want to customize this even further to make it look a bit more in the style of this other menu right here? Let's start with the button. What if you don't like this background? Well, you can actually use what is called a variant of this button. And there is a variant that is called Ghost. This is all in the documentation from Flux. I recommend that you give that a good read. It's very good. It's a very good documentation. So if we use the variant Ghost and then save, the background of the button disappears and you are only left with the hover state. And if you ask me, that looks really good. So this one doesn't have a hover in the entire block, but I kind of like the hover state as well. So comes down to personal preference. But let's go even further. What if you want the menu to have the same background color and hover color as this one? Because right now, if we check the classes for this, let's make this a little smaller and see if we can make this a bit bigger. There you go. Hope that comes out okay. So this menu here, if you take a look at the UI menu element, which by the way, that UI menu, it's a web component. It's a web component built with JavaScript, and you don't have to worry about it. It already comes with everything included, and you just have to use it. So this UI menu has a bunch of classes, and one of those, if I'm not mistaken, is, where is the border? Dark BG. So this one is using Sync 700 for the background. But the other one, if I'm not mistaken, is using gray. No, that's the element. Where is it? Gray 800, if I'm correct. Where is it? Where are you? I know you're here somewhere. Here it is. So BG Gray 700. So what if you want both menus, or you want the Flux menu to also have a background of Gray 700 instead of Sync? Well, you can go two routes here. The easiest way that you could the easiest way to customize this menu is to actually go back here and to the menu element, not the drop down, but the menu. You can just add your own classes. So let's say class dark. So for this to work, you need to add the exclamation point, so that this class takes precedence over the default class from Flux. So in this case, we want BG Gray 700. So let's go back and take a look. And there you have it. They have the same background color. Now tell me that isn't easy. Tell me that isn't convenient. Now let's go even further, because if you notice, it's very it's a very small detail, but the border here on the Flux component is still using the Sync color, right? Rajesh, Laravel could consider buying Flux UI using VC funding similar to how Vercel. Yeah, that's a good idea. But again, this is a very nice project from Caleb. So yeah, that's a good point. So why don't we take a step further and then customize the border from this other menu and make it look exactly the same as the Flux one. So in this case, they're not, the menu that comes with Breeze doesn't use a border. Sorry. Instead, they're using a ring black with a 5% opacity. So we would have to do two things. We would have to override the border in this menu component, remove it completely, and then add our own classes for the ring. And that's easy. All you have to do is say exclamation point so that everything takes precedence, and then do border none. And then let's add our own classes. Because Flux doesn't have any ring classes attached to it, we don't need the exclamation point. We just need to add the classes that we need. In this case, we're going to say ring 1, ring black, and then ring opacity 5. Save this, and if we take a look, now we don't have the sync border, and it's very, very almost unnoticeable, but the borders are exactly the same on both menus. One last thing that we could do is the hover in each of the elements. In here, the original menu is using, where is it? Dark hover BG gray 800. So let's use that same color style for the Flux menu. And same thing, you can go to each individual menu item and add your own class. So in this case, we're going to say class dark hover exclamation point BG gray 800, and I want this in the next one as well, so let's paste it here. And if we go back to the page, now it looks almost the same. It has the same styles. If you ask me, I kind of like the pill style, so we could go even further and just modify the classes for the menu item and just make it flat against the sides. We could modify the classes of the menu itself so that, again, it doesn't have any padding on left and right. You could do as much or as little as you want to customize this, and it's just easy. But I'm going to leave it like that because I kind of like the pill style with the rounded borders for this menu. Now, what if you don't want, or you don't, let's say that adding all of these classes to the menu doesn't look that good, right? Maybe you want to keep those classes for all of the menus that you want, and every time you use a menu, you want those classes to be exactly the same. Here's the amazing thing about this Flux library. If we take a look at the code or the contents of this Flux menu component, which by the way is just a blade component, we can do that by going to vendor, Livewire. Let me see if I can see it. Livewire Flux stubs, and then the menu folder. And since this is blade components, if you have a folder, the index file is the default template for that component. So in this case, menu index.blade.php. Oh, I clicked the wrong one. Menu. This looks different. Interesting. Heading, item. Oh, here it is. I was clicking the item one. I needed the index. So this is the main template for the menu. I mean, look at this. This is beautiful. All you have here, according to Caleb, the rest of the kit drops Monday. Oh my God, that's so great. I didn't know that. Thank you so much. I can't wait for Monday. Said no one. So that's one good thing on Monday. So all we have here is a PHP snippet with Flux classes. So all this is doing is adding classes to the component. You can see the border, the color of the background here. And then you have the UI menu web component, passing all of the classes into that web component, and a couple more data attributes required for this to work. But look at the simplicity of this, and tell me that it's not absolutely beautiful. But the great thing about this is that we can create our own blade component and just make it look the way we want to using Flux. Let me show you. I'm going to open a new terminal here. I'm going to do PHP artisan make component. This is going to make me a new blade component. I'm going to call it Breeze Flux menu because I want the styles to look like the style that comes with Breeze, all of the colors, etc. And then use view to make it just a view template, no class involved. So if I do that, now I have a new file. What I'm going to do is just take everything from the original menu component and yoink, and then open my new Breeze Flux menu, select everything and paste. And now I can start customizing this to my needs. For example, we say that we don't want a border. So let's remove the border sync, and dark border sync, and remove that. And instead we said that we want ring 1, ring black, and then ring opacity 5. And also let's change the background color. Instead of BG sync, we want BG gray 700. Now we can go back to the navigation component, and instead of using the Flux menu, we can just say X Breeze Flux menu, bring the items down into my new component, fix the indentation here because VS Code, and now we can just remove the old menu. Save that. And it works. It's my menu. I can reuse this menu as many times as I want. I don't have to change the classes every time I use it, and it just works. Mwah. But one more thing. What if you don't want that hover? You want the button to be exactly the same as the one from Breeze. No hover, just clicking on it. All of the classes, etc. Well, all you need to do is, in order for a button to become, so it goes like this. If you add a button inside the Flux dropdown contents, inside this dropdown Flux component, if you add a button there, that button becomes the trigger for that menu. So why don't we, instead of using the Flux button, let's remove that and just grab the button that came with Breeze. So we yoink that and paste here, fix the indentation and save. And it works. Same button, same styles, Flux drop-down menu. Isn't that cool? And this way we get to keep all of the Alpine.js functionality where the username will automatically update, if it is changed in the profile page. So you get to use your own button, and as soon as you put a button inside the drop-down menu, that button becomes a trigger for the Flux drop-down. Genius, genius. So yeah, everything works as it should. The style of the menu, if you ask me, I like it a lot. Everything else stays the same. We're not going to do anything with this navigation, so that stays the same, but on desktop we get our drop down menu, and now we can come here and just get rid of this old menu. So view, around, tag, delete, save, and now we are left with our Flux drop down menu. And that's it. That's our tour of the Flux components. Remember, all of these components that just dropped today are for free. You are free to use the Flux dropdown in any of the projects. If you plan to use it, let me know in the comments how you plan to use it and where. I really want to know. And that's it for today. Thank you so much for everyone who joined, Mark, Rajesh, and WebIpsum. And yeah. Thank you so much. If you found any of this helpful, don't forget to leave a like, always helpful to me, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, so that you don't miss the next one. And as always, I'll see you in the next one. All right, bye.